Hello, everybody, and welcome back to World of Washaba. My name is Shawna, and on this channel, I'm going to be talking about the things that are really going on in my world, which is usually going to be homeschooling, color street nails. The link is in the notes below if you are interested in that, and books, because I love reading. Who doesn't love books and all things bookish? My friend and I do a podcast together called Getting Bookish with Shawna and Lizz, and I would love to have you check that out. So for this video, I kind of wanted to just talk about how our year is going so far. So that about says it, right? So I have 5-year-old twins and 7-year-old twins, and we've really been trying to focus on a one-room schoolhouse approach because they are so close in age. If we had different or, much older or whatever, that'd be a little bit harder to do. It can still be done, but it would just take a little bit more creativity. But I figure since they're so close, they're less than 2 years apart, it's easy for me to do everything with them. Now, I think I said this in my video when we started this school year, that I am very, very lax, especially with my 5-year-olds. I really don't require much from them. I do require that when I'm doing the lessons with my older ones, that they're in the room, but they can be playing. But when they're in the room, they're picking everything up, right? They know, they can hear what I'm going over with the older ones. And a lot of the times they'll sit at the table and they want to do whatever we're doing. And that's totally fine with me. We do, so in the morning, I've just recently started this like maybe 2 months ago. We started doing morning folders. And so in the morning, everybody comes downstairs to this table and they all have their own folder. My kids are color-coded. Please put in the comments if you have color-coded kids as well, so I know I'm not the only strange person. My son is blue, my littler son is green, my older daughter is pink, and my little daughter is purple. So they each come and they get their folder, and there's a couple different things for each of them to do in their folder. I can do another video on that. If you're interested, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see what's in their morning folder. And it's something that doesn't really take them very long. It really started with me just wanting a few extra minutes of sleep or just to get up because I'm not a morning person. It's not that I'm grumpy or anything. I'm just a night owl. Like right now, can you see that? It's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm doing the video because I do like my best work between like 10 and 2 a.m. And in the morning, not so much because I'm just tired because I love being a night owl. So anyway, I just wanted a couple more minutes of sleep. And so when they're done, they usually come and they bring me their work. And it gives me like another 25 minutes or something. So then after that, we do breakfast, and then we do our morning basket, which is full of lots of fun things. And after that, and this is a very loose day, right? There's so many different things that changes. We might go to the library or go to the park or whatever. This is just like a very typical schoolish day. We will sit down and do math, language arts, and they've already done their writing in the morning. And really, that's all that we've been focusing on. I know that in the beginning of the school year, I showed my story. I showed God's design for science. I showed more than words. But for their age, I didn't think it was quite necessary because we read aloud a lot. We go through a lot of books, and whenever I come across, different states or countries, we always talk about those. We're doing a different Bible study that I didn't show in my video at the beginning of the year, and that's kind of taken the place of More Than Words, although we do still use a lot of the coloring pages and the word searches and kind of those fun activity sheets. as just extra activity sheets if they want to do something. So that's kind of what we've been using that for, and it's been working. But as we were going through the science program, there was a lot of it that I could take outside. So there was a portion where it was talking about leaves and the different types of leaves and what leaves look like. And I was just thinking, we don't need to sit at the table and do this. So I looked through it like about a week's worth, and we went outside and we did all of that outside with real leaves and real tree bark and all this stuff. So I've just kind of been doing science that way, just getting outside, trying to look through the book a little bit as a guide, and then doing what we can hands-on. We're in December right now. It's right before Christmas. So in January, we're going to start going to the national and state parks, and we're going to be doing the Junior Ranger program. So that's what I'm going to be using as their science. As far as social studies, my story, I just felt that I wanted to wait maybe another year before we start that. I really like it, but I just wanted to wait another year. But we are using the word search pages and the coloring pages, so they're still kind of using it. And I'll do another video, if you would like to see it, put in the comments below, on the Bible curriculum that we're using, because I love it. It is our favorite part of the day. I love it so much. At first, I thought it felt very overwhelming, but because there's like different parts, and sometimes there's songs and sometimes there's sheets I have to print out. Oh, but I love it so much, and it really drives home having that relationship with Jesus, and it's not just going over Bible stories, so I love it. So I'll do another thing on that later. And then with the littles, my little twins, my 5-year-old ones, if they want to do something, I do have math books for them, and they do have Logic of English. Again, I don't really require that they do much of it, but sometimes they ask, and sometimes they want to because they see the older ones do it. So if they want to, we'll bring it out and we'll do some stuff. Now, math, I do, like I said, we want to do a one-room schoolhouse type approach, but math, we have to break up a little bit because I feel like everybody is at a different place with math. And my son, my older son, he's got a math brain. He was wired for numbers. He totally gets that from my husband and not me, because I am not a math person at all. My older daughter is just like me, and I look at her and she's struggling with just like the most basic concepts. And I never want her to feel pressure about that, because I feel like math is one of those subjects where you can really douse somebody's fire in that subject very quickly. I mean, we hear people all the time, right? Oh, I hate math. I'm so terrible in math. Like that's how I feel. But I've just been really careful to not make her feel like she's in competition with my son, and just to let them know we all have our strengths. We all have strengths in certain areas. She is maybe not so strong in math, but she's an amazing reader, incredible. And she taught my younger 5-year-old daughter how to read, because she reads to her every night and makes her follow the words with her finger and all that stuff. And I didn't even know she was doing that. So, and then my son, who is a math wizard, he is an average reader. His reading is still kind of choppy. It'll get better. I'm not worried about it. But I just really want them to understand that we all, like, God has given us all individual talents. We can't all be great at everything. So we are naturally inclined to be good or comfortable with certain things, and other things we have to put in a little extra effort, and it could be a little bit harder to learn, but that's okay. So, so with math, I just try to, cater to where they are. So that's a little bit broken, but the concepts we all do together. So I go over flashcards of, basic addition and subtraction together and multiplication. We just do those. My kids love flashcards. Do your kids love flashcards? And so we do those together. Money we do together. So that's something that we all can learn together. I really feel like it's mostly my son that I separate, and because he's just so quick with everything, with math, I mean. So once I barely explain a concept, he's got it. Like, I don't even have to finish. And then as far as Logic of English, which is the language arts program we use, which I love. And by the way, we use master books for math. So Logic of English, I love this program so much. If you're looking for a language arts program, I highly recommend it. It incorporates vocabulary, grammar, spelling, writing. You can choose print or cursive. We got cursive. And reading. Did I say reading? There's 5. And I love it so much. We started out with that. I have no intention of changing. So you start out with foundation, and there's 4 books, A, B, C, and D. And my older ones are on D, I think it is. No, they're on C. Well, they're almost done with C. So at the end of this school year, they will have finished D. Then they can go into what's called essentials. And at that point, I love the program. More than likely, I will continue on to essentials, but I'm also looking at IEW, the writing program, and Brave Writer. And I don't know if I'll do both or if I'll do like one or the other. And by both, I mean Logic of English and either IEW or Brave Writer. So if you have opinions on those, any of them, please let me know. I've been listening to the podcast. I've read Julie Bogart's book. I love Andrew Pudewa. I fan stalk them at homeschool conventions. And but I would love to hear any of your opinions on what you feel has worked for you. Or if you have done Logic of English Essentials, I would love to hear that too. So my little ones have book A. So that's what they're doing. Book A is so gentle and so easy. And again, like I keep saying, I don't have a required time like, okay, 5-year-olds, it's time to sit down and do your language arts and your math. It's really just kind of go with the flow with how they feel. In saying that, my 5-year-old daughter already knows how to read, and my 5-year-old son, he can read a little bit, not fluently, but and this is from me just not teaching them anything. We just do a ton of read alouds. The older ones read to them. So I will probably require more of them when they're maybe 6.5, getting close to 7, which is what I did with my 7-year-old twins. And again, this is just a complete personal decision made from what I've learned from more experienced homeschoolers. Again, like there's so many different ways to homeschool. And that's also why I really wanted to make this channel, is because there's like a ton of homeschooling families that I watch, and I am so appreciative and I love their channels. And I probably binge watch so many of them. And have you ever watched some of them and you're like, oh my gosh, they're so organized. They have everything. Like they wake up in the morning and they have their coffee or their protein shake and they do their workout, and then the kids sit down at 8 o'clock and they all do their schoolwork, and then, and the day is just set up, and then after lunch we go and we finish our, work or whatever. And they're structured and they're organized, and it's like, wow. And sometimes, like, you feel, I can't homeschool because I am nowhere near structured or organized. That's me. I am not a structured, organized person. I wish I was. I think things would be so much easier, but that is a complete struggle for me. I am a huge procrastinator. And I like to do things last minute. Like And I like to do things kind of spur of the moment. Like when we wake up, it's like, okay, well, let's do our logic of English. Oh, but it's a nice cool day. Let's go play first. Let's go outside. And then we'll come inside and it's like, all right, let's do our math. Um, but then everybody's just kind of getting a little like sleepy from doing lots of playing. So I'm like, all right, let's watch a Christmas movie, you know? And that's kind of like how, and then after quiet time, they always have quiet time. And after that, I'm like, all right, let's do some math, you know? But with that being said, I don't want you to think that we're not like doing anything. What I do is I look at the curriculum that we have and I decide what I hope to accomplish at the end of the year. Like, do I want the whole book to be done or do I want to be done to a certain point? And then I just kind of go with the flow with that. And believe it or not, we are ahead in every, subject that we're doing. They are really, really doing great with their cursive. I have another video. The last video was on their cursive program. They're doing great in that. I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy with where they are in math. Like I said, we're ahead with that. In fact, we are almost done with the math book that we're in, and then we'll just go ahead and start the next one. I'm very happy with where they are with Logic of English. They are right where they should be, if not ahead, since they're both reading. We can go through these lessons so fast, and we're learning the spelling rules and all this stuff. So I'm very pleased with where they are, and I don't have any problems. And that's why we're just kind of lax. I know that as they get older, we will have to have more structure and have to have more of a routine, and I'm fine with that. But right now, with the ages that they're at, I'm like, okay, I need to make sure that they are outside because I have, just checking my time. I have a son, my older son, who has the energy of a sled dog. My mom told me a story about these sled dogs when she went to Alaska, that they have to run miles and miles and miles a day. Otherwise, they will lose they just have so much energy and they'll lose their, like they have to keep up that mileage so that they can continue to run. And that's my son. He is like a sled dog. He doesn't stop. He is from 0 to 1,000 from the moment he wakes up in the morning at like 5:30 in the morning. Thankfully, he stays in his room until about 7 playing with his Legos. But he is just so much energy. And so if I started our day at 8, this is why I feel like public school would be the worst place for him, at least right now. We have no thoughts of going into public school or private school or anything, because right now we are very blessed to have the opportunity to homeschool. But I always think, I'm like, that would be the worst place for him because he has so much energy. So sometimes in the morning after breakfast, we just have to go outside and he has to run. He has to ride his bike. He has to get out so much energy. But then he recharges so fast too. So we come inside and then he can give me his attention and then we have to go play some more. And so I also think that that's an age thing. He's 7. And I know that I am not an experienced homeschooling mom. We are just starting out. There are so many other families that are on YouTube that you can watch that have children that are in the 5-7 age, if that's what you're watching for, but that also have older children, so they've gone through the stages. But what I just want to say from what I have heard from other moms that have like been there, done that, so many of them say the same thing, and they say we wish we would have started later and done less. And so, thinking about that, I'm like, I get it. They are babies. They are children. They are kids, and they need to play. And I want their childhood to be full of playing because they're learning. They are learning they have been on this earth 5 years and 7 years. That is not a lot. That means that everything they are encountering, they're learning. It might not be that they're learning, page 41 through 43 in a science textbook, but they're learning, by playing with the different leaves and trees and which type of tree you can, break the bark on, and what the different types of leaves look like, and what type of bugs live in the dirt around here. And I don't know, just all these different things that they can do outside. So that is what I'm really passionate about. There's a book called Free to Learn? And Last Child in the Woods. I think those are the titles of them. And I love those books. So our day is really loose. And I guess what I'm saying is that if you are new to homeschooling, again, I don't have the experience that some other people have, but I do want you to know that it's okay if you feel frazzled, if you feel like your homeschooling changes, like you had a plan, right? And then in a month, your plan totally dies. Or your plan changes every week, or your plan changes every day. That is totally fine. It is totally normal, and it's okay. I think one of the things that has helped me is writing down, not a mission statement, but kind of like what I said earlier. What do we hope to accomplish this school year? What do I hope to accomplish? Why am I homeschooling? Am I homeschooling just because I don't want them to go to public school? Let's dig a little deeper. Why don't I want them to go to school? Have your reasons, and whatever your reasons are, totally fine. Could be completely different from, five other people around you, whatever your reasons are. But just know that it's okay if your homeschooling looks like nobody else's. I have friends that are complete unschoolers, and it is just completely about what the child wants to do that day. They don't own a single textbook. They don't require any seat work, book work, curriculum work, nothing. And then I have friends on the opposite end of the spectrum that are very, very, it's like school at home. At 8 o'clock, they start, they do this subject, this subject, this subject, lunch, this subject, this subject, this subject, end of day. They have, homework that they have to do on the side. It's very structured. I have friends that do classical conversations. I have friends that do Charlotte Mason. So everybody is different. Everybody's is okay. If your intention is in the right place to give your child the best education that you possibly can, there's so many different roads to doing that. And no one way is better than the other, because you know your child. You know how your child learns and how they learn best. And if you don't quite know yet, you'll learn together. And I think that's one of the most fun things ever. So when we started math, I know I talked about math before. Again, I'm not very good at math at all. I feel like my daughter and I are at the same level. But I'm learning with her, and I will learn with them as we go. And no, I don't expect to be a crazy mathematician genius, but I feel like for the first time, I'm learning because I want to learn, because I want to be able to help them. And I think that's the key. That's what I pick up from homeschool conventions is children or anybody they're not going to learn. We're not going to learn completely until we have a reason to or a desire to. So here's a quick example. Again, math. Math and I are not friends. We do not get along, right? There's nothing I wanted about math. I passed in my classes. I got A's and everything because I worked my tail off, and I did a bunch of extra credit to raise my grades. But I could not have said goodbye to math faster than I did when I was done with school. After high school, I joined the Navy, and I joined the Navy as an air traffic controller. So when you think of air traffic controllers, in our radar room or in the control tower, what are we surrounded by? Numbers, math. There's so much math in air traffic control. And so when I went to my A school, it was like non-radar, radar. I mean, it was degrees. It was like even traffic calls. It's just numbers and math and headings and all of this stuff. But I wanted to do it. I had a passion for it. I wanted to do it so bad. I wanted to be amazing. I wanted to be in the Navy. I wanted to do my job the best that I could. I thought it was fascinating. I thought it was the coolest job in the world. And so I had a passion for this job. So I had a reason to want to learn the math that I needed to know. And I ended up graduating top of my class. And so that kind of just, I always think about that as my children are struggling or as we're going along. Like, it's okay to not like something or to be struggling with it. I'm trying to provide them kind of the basics, and then once I see their passion for things, we can really take off with that. But meanwhile, I just want to give them the building blocks of the basics. So hopefully that made sense and it wasn't just all over the place. We read aloud a ton. I can't remember if I just said this. We do our morning basket. I'll do another video on that. I'll do a video on the Bible curriculum we use, our morning folders, and we probably do our school maybe 3 or 4 days a week. Like I said, they do the morning folders every morning. We are doing a year, like a full year, school year, not just like the 9 months. So year-round school, sorry. And I don't really have a stop or starting point. So that's why it's really hard to give my children grades, like to say, you're in first grade or second grade. I'm like, I don't care, pick one. When we finish a curriculum, we'll just start a new one. And that's why I'm not really concerned about, okay, on this week we have to do lesson 1. On this day we have to do lesson 2. It's like some days we do an entire week's worth in one day because it's an area that they understand completely. So there's no reason for me to spread it out during the entire week. I'm like, okay, you know all of this, cover it in a day and move on. And that's how it's so easy to get ahead, right? But I know that there's going to be days when we need to slow down and we'll make up for that, you know? So when we are done with whatever curriculum we finish, I will just get the next one and then we will pick right up. And that's kind of what our plan is. Again, plans change. And I mean, we've already changed so much from the beginning of this school year that I have no doubt that things will change again. But to me, for my personality, I love that because I get bored easily. So that's probably, my son probably gets it from me. He has to have things like changing constantly. But anyway, I just want to give you just a little bit of motivation if you're just starting out with homeschool and you are watching these YouTube videos thinking everybody has it together and there's no way that you can do this, and you know your child is 4 and they don't want to sit still in the chair for you to teach them about their shapes. Just don't. They're 4. Again, I don't really require anything of mine until they're closer to 7, but when they're 7, they know all the things that I would have had them sit down and learn anyway. Just from like normal everyday stuff. They know their shapes, their colors, their numbers, their letters, because I point them out when we're out, you know, living life. I don't need them to sit still at 4 years old and color a picture of a square. You know what I mean? And if you do that, that's totally fine. Again, everybody's way of doing it. There's really no wrong way and no right way, as long as you are doing, got some weird hairs here, as long as you are doing what you feel is best for the education of your child. Please leave in the comments any videos that you might like to see. I feel like I went on this big soapbox rant and I'm so sorry for that. But I really wanted to make a video that just kind of explained why I'm doing my homeschool channel And I just feel so passionate about homeschool. I love it. We have wanted to homeschool before we even had kids. We knew we were homeschooling. It is fun for me, and I know that every day won't be fun. They're young now, so there's not a lot that like I said, that I require from them. So it's kind of easy. It's hard because of the ages that they're at. There's a lot of whining and you know bickering and all of that stuff. But what I love completely outweighs the hard stuff. I love seeing them learn. I love being the one that sees their face when they have that, oh, moment, when they finally get it. I love listening to them read. I love watching them help each other. I love that they are learning together. I love teaching them how to learn. I love teaching them that there's so many different ways to learn. I love that if something gets boring or a curriculum or whatever is not working, we can change it. And we can change it that day. We can change it that instant. I love that if we're having a bad day or I'm having a bad day, because I have plenty of bad days. Again, let me remind you, for the people in the back, I have 2 sets of twins, 5 and 7. I have plenty of bad days. On those days, or if they're having bad days, we just say, you know what? No school today, because they are not going to learn anything from me when I am in a terrible mood. And that's just, one of those things. But I do talk to them about moods. I'm really grumpy, and that doesn't mean that work can't be done. So maybe we'll focus on chores that day. We'll make sure the laundry is done, the dishes are done, the house is picked up, things like that. We will always read. Always read. I am never in too grumpy of a mood to read. So we do lots of read alouds. I think that's it for this one. I'm so sorry to keep going. Please tell me if you are a person that loves talking about homeschool, because I would love to chat with you. I love reading books about homeschooling. I love going to the conventions. I love talking to other moms about what they do and the curriculum they use and what their day looks like. And that's why I like watching all the homeschooling videos, because I love watching other people's days. I was thinking about doing a day in the life of, again, comments, let me know if you'd want to see that. Because some days we have a pretty good routine, and I get at the end of the day and I'm like, we did a lot of stuff today. But yeah, I just love it. It's so incredible. And it's an amazing experience. And I just feel really blessed that we are in a position that we get to homeschool our children. Let me rephrase this. I was going to say, I love being with them every day. No, that's really hard. It is really hard to be with 4 children this age all day, every day. It is definitely a sacrifice. Absolutely. But I love being with them, and I feel like it's the future me that is saying I love being with them every day, because I know in the future when they're no longer little and they're no longer begging for the hugs and kisses and I no longer get to cuddle them and squeeze them and squish their little faces every day, I'm going to miss it. So it's the future me that's saying I love being with them every day. And I try to remember that on the days when I'm super stressed. But I love that I'm going to be a part of their life every day, because I know these times are fleeting. I know they are fast. And some days I wish they would speed up a little bit more. But one day I'm going to look back and wish I had spent more time, even though we are spending like the maximum time together. But there's so many things that I'm excited about. So again, if you're new to homeschooling, don't let it stress you out. Take it slow. Do not think that you have to copy school at home, because you don't. If you want to, and that's what you like, totally okay. But don't think that it has to look like that. There are so many different ways. I'll do some more videos later, Let me know what you would like me to chat about. I will try to not keep it this long, but we'll see. All right, you guys have a wonderful day, night, whatever, whenever you're listening to this. It's almost Christmas in a couple days. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year. Please stay safe, enjoy your families, and I'll talk to you next time. Again, oh, one more thing. Don't forget to subscribe, like, leave me comments, click the little bell to get a notification of when my next video is up. All of these things help me who might want to watch this content. All right, I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.